Am I the a-hole for threatening to cut ties with my parents for having another kid? I 19F have a brother 11M who is autistic and doesn't speak. He lashes out often and needs constant supervision. I take care of him a lot and I do love him a lot despite that. I'm currently living with my parents and helping with my brother, as well as working while I try to get into med school. I am taking a local version of SAT for the 4th time to get my score up high enough to get in on a scholarship. My parents, who are 42 mom and 47 dad, have decided to have another kid despite our financial situation. They took out a big loan for our house, approximately $1 million, a loan for both our cars, $100,000, and are paying a mortgage for my grandma's house since she can't pay it anymore. I knew how hard they work because my mom is a nurse who works 4 night shifts a week and my dad is an office worker who works 12 hours a day. Due to our financial difficulties, I gave up on medical school abroad where it'd be expensive, but I'd surely get in. I wanted to help my parents retire well and have a good 40 years, so I studied really hard through high school and never really had a social life. I sacrificed a lot because I wanted my parents to rest soon. They told me and my sister 17F that they're having another child. It's 24 weeks now. My sister actually had a nervous breakdown because she wants to be an engineer and wanted the financial support as well as the emotional support from my parents. She actually hyperventilated. I cried and asked why they would do that at their age. They know how hard I'm trying in order to help them, yet my dad told me that he is having this child because he doesn't trust me to take care of my brother, and both me and my sister are leaving home soon. I got very mad at him for not trusting me after all my efforts and promises to pay him back for helping me take exams to get into university and the application fees. I basically yelled at both of them that I'm moving in with my grandma and never talking to them again, but I genuinely don't know what to do. My dad said I'm not a child and they don't need to raise me anymore, and that really broke me. I know that I'm an adult, but I love my parents and I want their affection that would not change even if I was 40. My mom is not talking to me and my dad keeps laughing at my face. I don't know if I should feel sad or guilty or mad. They know my brother is practically going to be my responsibility for my entire life, and if this baby is also disabled, my life will be over for good. There's also a pretty good chance that they won't live to see this child turn 30 and the lack of money to go around. Am I the a-hole for reacting like that?
Here are the top comments.
Not the a-hole, but your parents clearly just view you and your sister as the help, so moving in with your grandmother sounds like an amazing idea. Take your sister with you if you can. Get a job and in a year you can pay for your own applications and hopefully get some good student aid.
Not the a-hole. Your parents are a-holes. And there is such a high chance the baby will face the same, if not more challenges than your brother even. The fact that your dad basically said they need a servant so they're having another kid is ludicrous. You and your sister need to go no contact. I feel bad for you since you seem like a genuine loving person.
Am I the a-hole for breastfeeding my son around my father-in-law despite him getting upset? I 23F recently had my first child and have been breastfeeding. I don't use a cover because my baby doesn't like it. My husband's parents have commented in the past about my breastfeeding, saying I don't need to be doing it in public, distracting, and showing myself to people other than my husband because it can wait until I can do it privately at home. The issue recently happened when my father-in-law came over to visit. He made a comment to my husband that I managed to overhear about how my top was showing a lot. I did notice him glancing down there a few times. I wasn't wearing anything revealing really, just a normal top, but I do have a bigger chest, and a little skin was visible. I know my husband's parents don't like me nursing around them or near them. My husband had asked me previously if I could do it in my room to not cause a fuss when they're over. I was nursing in my room upstairs that day, but I was getting tired. I haven't been getting much sleep, taking care of my baby, constantly going upstairs, and my baby was hungry. They were all busy outside and I was in the living room alone. I pulled my top down a little and started nursing my baby, but then my father-in-law came back into the room after coming back in the house and looked right at me and huffed a little. My husband and mother-in-law followed him into the room and she said,
"You don't have to do that here, do you?"
To which I didn't really know how to respond. My father-in-law, who moved more into the room in front of me and was looking right at my chest, muttered under his breath,
"I'll just start walking around with my out, huh?"
My mother-in-law told me to take it to my room so her husband didn't have to see it all hanging out, and she motioned to her chest. I was just looking back at them, not knowing what to say. I kind of froze and just continued breastfeeding my son, and they just stood there watching like they were expecting me to move, and I just felt exposed and shy, wishing I had just done it in my room. My husband got them to calm down, and eventually his parents left the room with a little huff. My husband went and got me a glass of water. It got a little awkward after that. I'm not really confrontational, and for the rest of that day until they left, I just went to my room quietly to do it. They've commented like this before, and it's hurt my confidence. For example, in breastfeeding in public. I really didn't mean anything and was just trying to feed my son. So am I the a-hole for breastfeeding my son around them even though they despise it?
Here are the top comments.
Not the a-hole. You are not flaunting your milkers, you are feeding a baby. Next time they say something, reply by saying, my milkers are for feeding my child, not for your fun time enjoyment. If you can't handle that, you need to remove yourself, as I will not make myself or my baby uncomfortable because you can't avert your gaze.
Not the a-hole. Poor father-in-law can't keep his eyes on your face. Not your problem. I would tell them if they are uncomfortable in my home, then they are free to leave and not return.
Not the a-hole. What a pair. Get husband to tell them you may nurse your son in your own home whenever and wherever you choose.
Am I the a-hole for shaming my sister for being pregnant and refusing to help her at all with any expenses? I 24F have a twin sister, Ashley, and we've always been close. She started dating this guy a year ago, Jared, 32M. I never really liked him, but my sister was head over heels in love with him and said she wanted to marry him. This summer, I was at the grocery store when a woman with 3 kids came up to me in the aisle and asked if I was Ashley. I said no and was about to say we're twins when she cut me off and said, yes, you are. You're dating my deadbeat baby daddy and want to stalk my pages, leaving hate messages saying he chose you over us and to move on. How heartless are you? I was like, what the F? I am not Ashley. I'm her twin sister, Blair, and asked if she was talking about Jared. She said yes, and showed me the screenshots of my sister deeming her, saying Jared is now hers. He doesn't claim those kids, blah blah. I was very uncomfortable, but I knew in my gut he was a weirdo. I was so shocked my sister would date a deadbeat, and proudly knowing how our father being a deadbeat sent us both to therapy. I just walked away. A few days later, I asked my sister, and she denied it at first, then admitted it, saying she didn't tell me he has kids since I personally don't date men with kids, and she didn't want me to judge her. I told her I was judging the fact that he's a deadbeat, not a father. We argued about it a lot, and I've looked at her differently since. Anyways, this week she invites me over and her and Jared tell me she's pregnant and are both so happy. I just sat there silently and kept eating. She asked why I was acting like a and why I wasn't happy to be an aunt, and I said because of, and gestures towards Jared. He got mad and said, what's your problem with me? And I said because you're a deadbeat. They both got quiet and he said that doesn't mean I'll be one for this kid. At that point, I laughed and got up to leave. I'm in the hallway on the way to the elevator when my sister comes running behind me and keeps asking why I'm being so rude while she's sobbing. I told her that she should be ashamed to be pregnant by a guy that abandoned his other kids knowing that happened to us, and that she's disgusting and a loser and he's gonna leave her like he did his ex. She said I don't know the full story and she can't believe I would be not supportive in this time of her life, and the baby has half my DNA too. I felt bad and said I would try to be there for her, but she'll realize what a mistake she made. Then I left. Now she's texting me saying she wants to come back and apologize to Jared, and I refused, and she said that she doesn't want to speak to me if I don't apologize to them. She even asked me if I could help plan the gender reveal and baby shower with her and pay for half since it's my niece or nephew, and I said no, but I would attend. So am I the a-hole here?
Here are the top comments.
Your sister is no better than her deadbeat baby daddy. Seen a poor woman with 2 kids.
Not the a-hole. You don't need to apologize for calling a deadbeat a deadbeat. You and I both know he's going to abandon your sister and this kid.
not the a-hole. Some people have to learn hard lessons on their own. You did what you could, now she has to live with the consequences. I get that by being a twin, it might be harder to stand by and watch. However, you gave her the warning.